I'm gonna move here.
What's up, guys?
This is Helter Skelter and
Cobra.
and we're finally back doing the podcast again after a bit of a hiatus.
Yeah, and we're still alive. So
But we still we're churning out some material. But let's go ahead and just jump right into talking about our weekend with some of the guys doing some day game. Always fun. Always just a huge challenge. I think.
huge challenge. I've done it before. I mean, I can't say I did it this weekend, but lots of it going on by some really respected forum members, and to be able to see day game, live from people that are really good at it, it's amazing feat to watch.
It's something, you hear about day game, and I think you kind of visualize maybe yourself doing it and all that stuff, but to see somebody like Dante's, pull, what was it, 4 incidents, and
So Dante's, I hope you're listening. I'm going to give you guys the statistics, and I don't know the exact number, but I know he did about 10 approaches. And I don't know how many numbers he's got.
Probably more than that too, because
it's had to be more than that.
It was just like I'm walking down the street. And I saw something. I'm going to go approach.
Guys, and this is real. This is within a 24-hour time span.
Not even.
Yeah, this is actually less. So he did that many approaches. He had how many? 4 instant dates.
With just very attractive women, and
they were attractive because I know
they're like starting to walk away.
I was in front of them, and I saw one of the girls, so I know that they were attractive.
The one I was able to see really well was he walks up to her, and we were kind of sitting there, obviously, like not trying to be too obvious about it, but we're like, oh, she's walking away. No, wait, she's staying. And she like almost walked away. He walked with her. So he talks to her for a minute, right? And she starts smiling and kind of engaging with him, and you can kind of see that. And then they walk down to the end of the street together, and then next thing you know, they like where are they?
They just disappear.
Right. He comes back. He's like, I got her number. Maybe I'll call her.
And I think that was an instant date. He had coffee with her or something.
Yeah, he said they got coffee.
It's persistence and the way he's smooth about it. Instead of thinking, oh, she didn't stop. And just walking away, he just continued and went with the flow.
Right.
And he kind of matched her sort of vibe and, was able to get into an instant date.
Right. So we had, I think, a pretty widespread of levels of players out there.
Oh, absolutely.
So there was, there's Dante's was obviously kind of the guru.
Yeah, absolutely.
Octavian, the guy is really just. Great though at doing approaches, and
he's very good at it.
Puts a lot of work into it.
Yeah, and the steering wheel.
Yeah,
we got to talk about that.
Right, the steering wheel. I look at that, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm so like nervous to do this, and I think I can sort of see him feeling the same way. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
And then so there.
It's a very hard thing to do. It's a very difficult thing to do.
So it was him, and then some of us like. I didn't actually. I choked, man.
No, that's all right, man.
Let's
just think about this for a second. And since we're on the topic of day game, if you think about night game, people are expecting it. You might have a little bit of alcohol that makes things easier.
Right.
That's not bad. Social circle, if somebody introduces you to somebody else.
Like I said,
or you're within a common sort of venue, right? Or common event or common theme.
Of course,
you meet people, it's easier.
Yeah, anything but day game. It's like social circle game is what I'm doing right now, and I'm having success with it.
That's right.
Night game has never been a bad. It's never been awful for me. But I was talking to Octavian a little bit about it. And I was talking to you about it, and the point is, I think that. Being well-rounded, even if you don't like day game, Roosh is making the point that maybe day game is going to be the only thing that we can do in the future that's going to have any success. Maybe that's not the case right now, but maybe that's heading that way. But the point, the interesting thing I think is to become more well-rounded with your experiences.
Oh, absolutely.
If you can do day game, you can do just
about anything. You can pretty much do anything. And I was trying to get into the levels, like their social circle, which is fairly not hard. not hard from the perspective of, what the spectrum that I'm about to speak of. Then you have night game where, people expect to be approached, you put a little alcohol in you,
right.
make it a little easier, but man, you get down to day game where, you got the sun shining on the pavement and you are literally walking up sober. As a person is actually walking, they're literally walking away from you.
So
and you're going over to stop them.
I'd like to, just kind of open up and be honest here about something that, it's embarrassing for me, to be out with the guys and then, not have taken advantage of, and I understand, nobody is like,
oh, that's okay.
When I'm out with the guys from RVF though, nobody's like, oh, you dumb, piece of shit,
no,
you didn't fucking approach.
That.
It's not like that.
It's not like that.
People know it's difficult, right? But obviously, being a competitive guy who wants to be, self-improvement and all that,
right?
But it's interesting because like looking at it is a way for me to figure out what was I doing wrong? Why was I why was I having an issue?
Yeah.
So I think it might be kind of cool to look at that really quick.
Yeah, and I mean it's awesome to be hanging out with somebody like Dante's who knows day game really well, and by the way, I mean he does direct day game. It's not like indirect. Hey, where's the cup? The Starbucks kind of a thing. This is literally
and the opener, the famous opener, right?
The opener that he uses, which Octavian uses, and I have used before.
Yeah, and I it's exactly. It's got to be one of the some golden stuff. And obviously, we know the opener is not the end all be all. The opener needs to just open, but being direct with it is by saying, "Hey, I saw you walking and over there, and I just had to come over, or I couldn't let you go without saying hello."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that is just so simple, so straightforward, not gimmicky,
and
it is honest.
Right.
It's 100% honest.
And it's not something people really say, I think. But this girl, so I see a girl walking up, right? This like blonde, kind of Slavic, I guess, sort of.
She probably was Slavic then.
Yeah, I think maybe, she kind of had that look. A little shorter, I think, and maybe a little thicker than I would prefer, but still hot from what I can tell.
Okay.
And she, I don't know if you remember, I kind of like I was looking her direction.
Oh yeah, we talked about this.
I almost sort of made eye contact
next
with her.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, oh crap, she made me. Oh damn, I've been found out. So I'm like deer in the freaking headlights. In my mind. And I see her walking closer, and then she does it again. We sort of like just bump eyes almost, from like a few feet away. And she walks down this staircase into this like eating area down below where we were standing, and everybody's like, "Hey, go!"
Yeah,
because that's how it is. I think I don't know how other people are, but
there's always that 3-second rule.
Go. Yeah,
right.
So kind of like like it's a sport or something like that, And so you only have a short window, I think, to really commit to it.
It's a very short window.
Yeah.
But here's the thing I've noticed, kind of for everybody to understand too. I've noticed that when you observe a girl that's out there to approach, if you give it like at least a minute, you kind of have to stay close to her, but you may notice that she's with her family or she's got a boyfriend or something. So it's always, there is this 3-second rule, but
that's okay.
I've violated. I've actually went in and done the 3-second rule,
right?
And then
but if
the
she's
guy
got a family or
up
boyfriend, then it's not that big a deal. Let's say you go up to her and you start talking to her, and her family walks up.
That's a good point.
And you all kind of look at each other like, "Oh, this dude was just trying to like talk to my girlfriend."
I've had that happen many times.
You know what though? It's not that big a deal.
It's
it's almost kind of funny, and
it's really not. It gets a little awkward, but it's not a big deal.
Nobody's going to care. Like you're never going to see these people again, probably.
Exactly.
And even if
that's the way to look at it. You can always wait, but you may even miss the opportunity.
Right.
So the best bang for the buck you can get is just approach.
And I think the nervousness and all that, or whatever it is sort of just in you.
That's a more inner game thing.
Inner game, we understand that.
Yeah, and I could speak personally to this because after you do it for so long, you kind of get into the groove of just walking up and being more smooth about it.
Yeah.
If you have never done it before, it's actually very hard to do, and that's more of your inner self saying, "Holy shit, what am I doing?" It just. But, practice just makes perfect. And that's why, the volume of approaches is good. I mean, that's not going to improve your inner game much, but it's going to get you to a basic level of game where you can just do it without.
It might take you a while to pull the trigger. When I did it with Octavian, for the first time several months ago.
Yeah.
It took I think maybe 2 hours of walking around and him saying, "Dude, go get that chick."
Yeah.
Of me being like, no. For me to finally go talk to a girl. And once I did, though, like I had sort of broken the ice, I think. So Roosh, he obviously says, get that first rejection out of the way to get the fire going.
You got to get the fire going.
Getting the first rejection, I think, is probably going to be the hardest part. And I know for me, that's for day game. When it comes to day game, that's really my big barrier right now is right. I just got to get in there and do the first one.
Yeah, and the momentum really helps. And I'm in sales. I think a lot of guys know this, but when I get on the phone, if I've got to make 40 to 60 calls a day, I always have these throwaway calls in the morning.
Right, yeah.
Where I just call random. Yeah. I mean, not people that are decision makers. So I just call them just to get it out of the way, even if they pick up and they say to tell me to screw off. And I mean, they don't say that. They say something more polite. And at least I've got them out of the way. And
the
it gets
routine calls that are not that important.
Yeah, the momentum itself that's created by that will help me in the fourth or fifth. And by the time I'm through 10 calls, man, it's literally I can go very smoothly over the next 30 calls.
And because you know that they're throwaways, I mean, are you less nervous talking to them?
Oh, a lot less nervous.
So if something actually comes out of that, like let's say you found something that was beneficial out of that group that you called them. You'd be less, nervous coming down to it. So if you do some sort of throwaways, now I don't want to approach a girl who I'm not attracted to.
Right.
But maybe like you're saying with the throwaways, I just need to go approach, some fucking fatty snuggos or something, or maybe even better.
Yeah, and that's
I start off talking to a cashier when I get my coffee in the morning, right? And then I go out and I just say hey to somebody on the street,
right.
And then I go talk to somebody I'm not attracted to, and then I actually start getting into the approaches of the hot girls that I really want to learn. That.
Yeah, and you make a good point.
That might be a great way for me to do it.
Yeah, Giovanni will say this. I think his concept of throwaways is talking to the cashier.
Yeah.
The girl at the coffee counter.
Moving
kind of
up,
Right, exactly.
Absolutely. That's a great idea.
Exactly. And that's very easy to do. It gets you in the mode. And when you go out there, that momentum's already built up, and it's very much easier for you to have a conversation.
Now, I know you don't, do day game or any of that thing anymore, but when you were doing it in the past, did you ever go out solo to do it?
Yeah, I've actually gone out solo to do it before. This is well documented on the forum. Me and Octavian used to have a goal-setting accountability
stuff, right? Yeah,
I would tell Octavian. Actually, he would tell me he's doing 10, and I had to do 5. Yeah, I'll take another one. So anyway, we would hold each other accountable, and I used to be so nervous during the week that, by the time Friday comes around, there were days I went on Michigan Avenue, and, last 2 hours of the day, I would be walking around all nervous and eked out 5 approaches, in the last 2 hours of the day.
I'd be down to I think I'm going to have to go and just, go through the city by myself and just kind of work up to doing that one approach, And obviously after that, I'm going to, go from there. Sure, but I don't like the idea that that day game kicks my ass. Because it doesn't. I'm not going out, like Bruce says, I'm not going out with that.
It's just a matter of activity. It's just a matter of getting in there.
Right, but I need to get in there and do it.
Yeah,
now
I
feel that kind of
trigger.
Right. And
once you pull the trigger, it's not difficult.
He was saying, don't kick your ass so much to the point where it's bad, but do kick your ass enough to the point where it motivates you to do more.
Yeah, here are the facts, though. When you think about social circle game, your return's going to be high.
Okay.
Night game, even, I think the return might be even higher than day game.
Mm-hmm.
Day game, as you're starting out, it is the most difficult thing to get into and get even basically good at.
But then you see guys after they've gotten to the level of mastery,
of course,
4 insta-dates in a few hours. In a few hours.
Exactly. It was, probably more of a span of...
Talk about ROI.
The 3 of those dates were in the span of 5 hours, actually. Right. Even less, I would say.
And he got I think maybe a few more numbers than just the insta-dates.
Right. And I think he's keeping in touch with some of those girls, actually.
Yeah, exactly. there is a payoff. There is a payoff.
There is definitely a payoff. I mean, I could speak to this. I mean, your inner game and your ego is tested so heavily during day game that it's actually probably the best things you can do for your ego. I mean, you're gonna, in the beginning, I'll guarantee it, you're gonna feel like shit after you get rejected. Maybe, I don't know, first 10 approaches, but there's gonna be a little positivity that comes out afterwards that is going to actually boost your ego a little bit. But you're gonna realize, in the world, you're not that different from other guys, which is not a bad thing to know. You have to, but the fact that you put yourself out there is going to make you stand out. Mm-hmm. But you also realize that what you're telling yourself, how good you are, is not actually true. It's actually.
What do you mean?
Meaning, a lot of us boost our egos, right? Mm-hmm. We look in the mirror and say, "Oh, I like what I see."
I see what you're saying. You're confronting the real
right,
kind
the
of
real you.
essence of yourself.
Right, you're interacting with the world,
right.
and you're basically going head to head with the rest of the world, and the world is going to tell you, "No, man, your ego is a little too big."
And it's really cool, I think, too. So let's move on to. We want to do introverts versus...
I think that's a great...
we have some great stuff we were talking about before we started.
That's a great transition. And, we were talking about this earlier, and the reason I brought this up was... you guys know I'm in sales. I think we're going through this program where... it's a consulting firm that's actually assessing our personalities. So we're, listening to this book, and we're doing these courses to sort of understand what our personalities are. And when I started this whole process and getting on the forum, I thought I was an introvert. I mean, because I wasn't really going out.
I did too.
Yeah, and I wasn't really going out. And this program focuses on more of what your strengths are and forgetting about your weaknesses. Mm-hmm. Or actually focusing on them less. Mm-hmm. Because your weaknesses don't really... Improving on your weaknesses is like you're not getting as much bang for your buck. You're making more of an effort to improve your weaknesses, but you're not getting as much result. But when you make an equal amount of effort or even less to improve your strengths, you actually get a better return out of it because they're your strengths.
Right.
So, major actually 4 or 5 categories. It's conscientious.
Oh, this is the major five, the big 5 personality traits.
It might be, yeah.
Yeah, so, conscientiousness, agreeableness,
emotionally stable, and extroverted.
Extroversion is one of them, and I think there's one more.
Open-minded.
Open-mindedness,
yeah.
Right.
So those categories, and what we were supposed to do was pick the 2 strongest.
I just did this recently myself.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we can talk about this pretty well. So mine ended up being agreeable and extroverted, which actually makes a lot of sense to me.
Okay.
But it took me a while to get to that because I'm like thinking, shit, I'm extroverted. But then I later realized I actually naturally am extroverted. I've had barriers keeping me away from that. And what we were saying was, dude, when I'm sitting by myself at home, I feel like shit. I don't feel comfortable.
Right.
So, but when I'm talking to people and actually having interactions.
Look at us doing this podcast. I mean, this is extroverts doing this.
Yeah, we're both extroverts. I mean, that's why it works.
Right. That's why we enjoy it so much. I think that's why we gravitated to this.
Right. So, when I think about it that way, it's like I have to get out of the house. And when I interact with another human being, I actually feel good and my mind feels more clear.
Right.
Whereas, an introvert may not feel that way. An introvert may be
I thought that
with themselves.
Right. I thought that I was an introvert. And that, I didn't... It was really... I was just having insecurities about people I was interacting with, or maybe I was judging myself too harshly or something.
Yeah, it's hard to be self-reflective, man.
And yeah, exactly. When I was at home, it's hard to be honestly self-reflective with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I, like you said, I was sitting at home, I'm watching my TV shows, and or trying to kill time, right?
And it feels like shit.
Just wishing I could be around people. I know. I want to be around people. I want to talk. I want to talk with people.
Yeah, I want to make them smile. I just like doing that.
I want to engage with other people.
Yeah, when I was at 100%, and this is probably when I first got in the Navy. You know about this. I felt 100 after boot camp was done. I showed up to my first command. I felt amazing. I mean, there were actually women on the ship.
Me too. Yeah.
I felt amazing, and I was 100%. I mean, everybody used to talk to me. I used to work in customer service. I did. I was a dispersing person, so I cashed checks and paid people and shit.
When you said customer service,
yeah. Yeah. So, everyone that came to the window, my boss, I think I mentioned this on the forum, smooth black dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he taught me a lot of shit about game. When he was at the window, every woman that walked up, every girl that walked up, he would say something nice, but he would say it in a way that's so smooth. Mm-hmm. And I eventually caught on to that, and I started doing it. And it felt so freaking good. Mm. And, I felt 100% at that time. And I could not go back to my berthing on the ship and just sit there. I couldn't do it. I had to find the next person, whether it was a girl. I mean, I obviously used to, seek out the women. But, I used to just want to go talk to them. It's just, that's how I felt. And I think at my best point in my life, the most natural I was at that point.
I feel the same way. I used to have a group of guys, who we would meet up in the courtyard, and just, we'd roll out from there,
Uh-huh.
It was actually guys and girls.
Some underage drinking going on there?
Which is surprising for, the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
I don't know about it. I guess so, but I was...
Dude, you know what's funny is,
when
I used to work on a base, it was a construction battalion.
Okay.
Those guys go out with the Marines.
Right.
The biggest thing that I saw in
CDs?
Personnel records, CDs. Biggest thing I saw in those people's personnel records is underage drinking.
Really?
And this was a bar this was a base in Rota, Spain.
Okay.
So once you get off the base, you can drink whatever you want because you're 18. 18 is the legal drinking age. These guys get on base and they start drinking. All these officers fucking write them up for it. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? These guys can shoot somebody and kill someone, but they can't drink in their own goddamn barracks.
That's crazy, man.
But anyway, sorry.
We'll probably catch some flack from some of the brass on the forum here.
Yeah, no shit. No shit.
Cornelius.
No shit, right? But no, that's it's interesting that we kind of both share in that feeling, because I think a lot of people that are extroverted naturally, their abilities are just underdeveloped. Because you have a lot of shit to deal with, man. I mean, in life. And
I came onto the forum, and Cernovich was is one of my favorite, websites. He's got, Danger of Play.
Oh yeah, Mike Cernovich is a good example.
I've been listening to that for a long time, and his podcasts, I always listen to that, and they're incredible.
Absolutely.
What he does is he says they're straightforward. Mm-hmm. He doesn't spend time. He says I don't podcast, so he doesn't do what we do. He says people are talking over each other in podcasts, or they're disagreeing, or they're cutting each other off, and all that stuff. He's like, that's frivolous. Here's just the straightforward goop to it, right?
Right.
We're not like that though, and
we're not like that. We're more dynamic.
I thought, I have to learn to be an introvert so I can be like Mike. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
No, you and I have a different style of podcasting. That's
that's like I said, focusing on a weakness to improve it.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Good point. Yep.
So I think that if you're an extrovert, people I think kind of just assume extroverts can figure it out.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting.
There's extroverts who don't have it figured out.
Yeah, at work, my boss I think has literally told me to stop running for mayor. So it's like, what the fuck, man?
Right.
And I'm thinking I'm just kind of hanging out with people, but it looks like I'm the most social person in the office.
That's another important thing too. I think extroverts can get a little carried away.
Yeah, I get carried away.
And I get carried away. Mm-hmm. And it's, when we're around introverts or people who, aren't the same kind of extroverts. It's very
hard to make them feel comfortable.
Right. You and I get along pretty well with this. We can sort of talk at the same time almost and still kind of, know what we're talking about. It's important to know when to cut it off and when to listen. And for sales, as you know, you have to listen to the customer. It's very important to listen to the customer, to find out, to qualify them, find out their needs, find out, their fear and what their buying motivations are. And you can't do that if you're just talking.
Yeah, and I just, kind of putting it out there, but I actually work, the sales, what I sell to, or my audience that I sell to, is accountants and finance people. They are the most fucking introverted people in the entire world.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for me to, just kind of joke around with them, talk about the weather and shit. I'll throw anything out, man.
But they're sort of laid back or more introverted.
Yeah, they don't want to talk about that sometimes. I'll talk about their kids and stuff, but it's really hard to break into an introvert if you're an extrovert. you have to kind of follow a different method.
Right.
Almost.
And you get excited, and you have to be able to.
You got to tone it back
that
sometimes.
a little bit as an extrovert.
Right.
I love this conversation about the extrovert thing because I'm just sort of, with you just saying this today, really just sort of, lit a bulb in my head.
Yeah, I mean, when I talk to people about this, and I'm not taking credit for this. I actually, like I said, it came from something at work we were doing. So when I tell people about this, they're like, oh yeah, you might be right. Because people are not, I mean, we go through, sometimes an introvert and extrovert can go through the same exact upbringing. And that's going to make them similar still to each other.
Right.
But sometimes their natural abilities are suppressed.
Right.
Depending on what the ability is. And if you ever realize what your natural abilities are,
right.
I mean, those are your strengths, man. I mean, if you work on them, you're going to get better ROI from it, right?
Exactly.
So,
and I think, it's kind of interesting to watch, how thin the line is here between, we're saying, look at the, the honest and the non-judgmental, almost kind of like very detailed way that we look at people and ourselves.
Right.
And it's maybe even only slightly different, but there is such a significant difference between how we do that and somebody who views everybody as this precious little snowflake.
Right. Yeah.
Right. That's not what we're getting at. That's not where we are. We can still say, hey, you have to be accountable. You have to, work on self-improvement and stuff like that.
Right.
No matter what you are. But to understand what's going on out there among different types of people and everything is just I think it's something that you just need to do in order to make good decisions and to develop obviously having a better understanding is going to lead to a better decision making process. And
I mean things like being healthy and going to the gym. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a fucking introvert, extrovert. You better somehow do it because it's going to make you feel healthier. And that's actually maybe a good example of something you maybe even need to do in order to even develop enough inner game or inner confidence to understand if you are really an extrovert or introvert. Because a lot of people will just tell you, man.
Right. If you don't understand this stuff, I don't think that you can actually go out there and have success approaching necessarily.
Of course, yeah.
Now, I think that 3 things that maybe you need to do every day, and I'm going to say this without, but I'm going to admit here, I don't do these 3 things every day, but I should. And I'm going to do my best, after having said this, to incorporate this more into my life, right? One is to do approaches, work out, and work a side hustle. Right? I think those 3 things, are kind of like you're moving forward in life. If you have a job, then fine, but you should look for a side hustle. If you have a difficulty, let's say you got an LTR, you got like you're getting some pussy or something like that. Go out and do some approaches because there's value to it. Right. And then and hit the fucking gym, or do some like push-ups and do some whatever it is you got to do to really get a good workout in martial arts, BJJ, which is that's awesome, by the way. All that. Dude,
I gotta get into either MMA or something.
There's a lot of MMA gyms popping up, and people are really rushing into them, but the prices are kind of, I think, down maybe. I want to say, and
with the competition, it's got to be driven down.
It's absolutely worth it. If you can get into, and you want to make sure you have like a good instructor or a good kind of. A way to get instructed in it well, absolutely. I think, so you don't develop like bad habits.
Right.
Man, if it'll just kick the shit out of your ass, and it'll help you to work muscles that you I don't think you could work otherwise. So
that's pretty interesting. And I actually wanted to just with forum members that people know, I kind of wanted to see what you think their personality is, and I mean we could start with Rouge. I think for me, when you think about Rouge, I think when I think about Rouge, I think he comes off introverted to me.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so for sure. Rouge may basically shut down the podcast because. Sorry, Rouge.
He's gonna like, fuck you, dude. Shut up. I don't know if Rouge. I would call Rouge introverted so much. Really? I mean, I don't know, dude. He churns out tons of content aggressively, and look at.
I think if anything, maybe that's not the way to put him.
Did you see the video of him doing the press conference?
Yeah. Well, I think he really got outside his zone there.
I don't think that he would have called the press conference and looked as excited about doing, right. confronting a bunch of hostile, reporters as an introvert. I don't know if that's an introvert quality, or maybe that's just the.
No, I think that
something he's developed.
Oh
himself,
yeah, I mean, I don't think that introversion, extroversion though has anything to do with confidence. Because I think Mike Cernovich, actually, he's the next one. Yeah. He's a self-admitted introvert, and I think he would have probably handled that kind of conference, probably just as aggressively.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a function of.
That's a good point.
Yeah, because I think they're confident guys. I just don't think, introversion and extroversion has any correlation with confidence.
And I think I kind of ascribe it in my mind, to that. Extrovert, they're confident. They're
the world fucking thinks that introverts are not confident.
Jocks, right.
Yeah, the world thinks that, but it's not true that introverts are not confident. It's just they're introverts. Okay. Their confidence can develop the same way.
Well, I guess I'm reading it.
An extrovert's confidence is based on social interactions, whereas an introvert's is probably based on, other things, maybe thinking, a little bit more than somebody else.
Right.
I might be wrong about that. I'm just throwing it out there, but yeah, man. Dante's actually is also a self-admitted introvert, by the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that really surprised me to hear that.
Right. It would. I know it would, because he has to put himself outside the zone a little bit.
Yeah.
It's something that he's mentioned to me a couple times. When you're doing that too, man, you get tired. I could go all night. I mean, sometimes when I'm out at social events, I'm like, fuck this, I'm just staying here.
Yeah.
If I don't have to get back home, I'll stay around.
Right.
Introverts.
Yeah, exactly. I like to stay out all night. I'll go until I shut the place down.
Yeah. Introverts are not like that.
What do you think about?
They have the energy and they got to go home.
What do you think about Vin Man?
Oh, Vin Man is Vin Man is extroverted.
He's a hardcore extrovert, right?
Yeah. that mofo is more extroverted than any one of us.
I think so. I think you're right. I think he's an extrovert. I mean,
yeah. And I think chaotic.
I was going to bring up next.
Yeah, he's extroverted.
He seems like a bit of an extrovert. I mean, he says he's got like a job that puts him into contact with a lot of people.
He just enjoys it too,
And he just,
you could tell
he
enjoys.
Man, he's really networking.
Yeah, he enjoys
socially,
talking to girls. He enjoys talking to people. He's just that kind of guy.
Yeah, and I was telling God about this.
God is a forum member, by the way. Just FYI.
God is on the RDF forum.
That's really funny.
God's red pill.
God is red pill. You just dropped God off to the airport.
Yeah, right? I just dropped God off the airport. He was down here hanging out with us, and he did some approaches. God did an approach.
Oh, he did an approach.
Yeah, he got bombed out too. He did a great job. He's just.
That's good, man. I'm glad he did. Yeah, that's good.
Well, God's been worried about getting pussy up in heaven. I think lately. It's been all the SJWs are taking over.
It's all dried up out here.
Yeah, the SJWs, man, are overrunning heaven, and right. So
down here it's kind of dried up. Actually, Chicago, it was interesting because, the girls that these guys were approaching. I mean, there weren't a lot to approach from. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was cold, man. I mean, we thought it was going to be 64 degrees, but it was
that's a good
mid-50s and shit, and nobody was really out.
I thought we should have stayed in the mall a little bit longer.
But that's to give credit to Dante's, because even that being the case, he's great off.
It being cold, nobody out, yeah. He sees the opportunities where they are, which I think is great. But you got go ahead and take the last word here, man. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, man. The last word. I try to keep it short, but I tend to be long-winded. Anyway, we had a great weekend in Chicago. Yeah, right. I like hearing myself speak. So we had a great weekend in Chicago. We saw a lot of good personalities. It was a good thing. Dante's came out. Props to Dante's for doing what he does for the forum. Kind of a shout out to him. I mean, to watch him do what he did was amazing. We continue talking about inner game, but, kind of want to add the facet of extroversion versus introversion. And, be self-reflective, figure out what your natural personality is, and go with it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds great. All right. Well, thanks. That's it.